is not a Jew who is one outwardly, nor is circumcision that which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Jew who is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, not in the letter, whose praise is not from men, but from. So if you are a blood-washed, born-again believer in Jesus Christ, you are a Jew. And the word is speaking to us. We have an opportunity to turn many to righteousness. God didn't make us spiritual Jews in order to keep it to ourselves. Verse 4 sealed this deal for me. Verse 4 says, but you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal. Note what he says, seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. In other words, the revelation is going to become more and more progressive. Note, God is not going into great detail of how he's going to bring this thing to pass. He just simply states as facts, here's what's going to happen. And then he tells Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book. In other words, what is written cannot and will not be altered. What is written is written. So any of us who study the book have no excuse. We know what the end is going to be. We don't know all the intimate details of how it's going to get there, but we know what the end is going to be. And yet we live in a world, my brothers and sisters, where there is major concern concerning nuclear buildups, and there's a major concern in trying to turn or corrupt, I should say, that which has been established by God, to corrupt it so that men can live in the perversions of their desire. Same-sex marriage, transgender lifestyle. I mean, all of this stuff is coming up, and it is a direct attack on what God has established. And God is saying to his children, you got to wake up, because you know what the end is going to be. The people who are walking in darkness have no clue of what it is they're involving themselves in. When we see these folk, rather than getting mad with them, we ought to fall on our knees and begin to pray for them. God, Jesus died for homosexuals. He died for lesbians. He died for transgender folk. We in the church ought not to not love those folk. They need to see that Jesus can make a difference. We're walking in the light. They're not our enemies. They need our prayer. Like Israel, too many of us are comfortable. We saved, we got our ticket punched, we on our way. Let them all just die in. God didn't show us the end so that we could be happy about where we going and not care about the souls of others. God's desire is that none should perish. Help me, preacher, with this. Well, in light of everything that I've shared, the things that God has shown us concerning the future, I walked away with this short study of two facts. The first fact is death on earth is not the end. That's fact number one. Your dying on earth does not end it all, as some folk like to think. Out of that came a second fact. There will be two resurrections. One to everlasting life, the purified. One to shame and everlasting damnation, the wicked. And the question the Lord spoke to me. What impact should this revealed fact have on the priority of ministry in the church? I mean, what should be the focus of ministry in the church? Should it be to help folk economically, socially, to gain what this world has to offer? I mean, should it be a lot of peripheral stuff that has nothing to do with eternity? Or should the main thrust of our ministry be to help others to come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ? Well, I consulted one of my New Testament writers, one of my brothers in the faith. Paul writing to the saints at Thessalonica. You can turn, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Paul writing to the saints of Thessalonica said in chapter 5 at the very beginning, "But concerning the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I should write to you. For you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night." In other words, nobody is going to be paying attention to when this moment happens. Why? He says, "For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape." In other words, what is the world pursuing right now? And genuinely so. They're pursuing peace. But do you know that there can be no peace when God is not a part of the process? In other words, until man makes peace with God, there can be no peace between man and man. But man is doing everything he can to bring about peace. And while one man in one corner is trying to bring about peace, the other man is trying to figure out a way to get around what they're doing, but at the same time looking like they have some interest in the peace process. There have been more than 100 treaties, peace treaties, and other kind of signed treaties between Russia and the United States. And every one of them been violated by both Russia and the United States. We just don't trust each other. You got to understand, when God made man, God gave man dominion over everything he created, but God never gave man dominion over another man. But when sin came into the world, man determined he was going to rule something, so man turned on himself and started trying to have dominion over each other. That's where we are. We're going to be the big dogs on the earth. Right now in the United States, we pride ourselves on being one thing, the only remaining world superpower. We are such a powerful superpower that those folk in those hills in Afghanistan wearing us out. We got all this modern technology that we scared to use. So we want to reduce ourselves to the level of fighting on their turf a war that they can compete with us. I mean, if I got all the stuff and I'm supposed to be a superpower, I ought not be worried about the response of other folk. I'm not going to keep sending folk into those crevices and corners and having them killed, so that rather than using the technology that we've been blessed to have, I'm going to send some of that technology over there. See, I'm one that, and that's why I ain't president, because I'm one that if I got enough power to turn a couple of cities over, and I ain't got to risk nobody's life, I'm going from a distance, go over there and drop some stuff that will turn the soil on top of the ground.